All right, Harry. Yeah. So, I saw you meditating on the choosing simple gospel truth for the channel name for quite a bit of time, a couple weeks. Most people, they get something in their head and they choose it right away. But there's clearly some value here for why you chose simple gospel truth. Can you explain to us why this meant something to you?
Yeah, the simple part is really that everybody can grasp it. The objective is that we understand that it's not meant to be complicated, not meant to be where people can't reach it. Meant for everybody. The
Hmm.
gospel is not exclusive to only the rich and the famous. It's meant for all the people, and being simple doesn't mean that it means that it's simple and not complicated, but doesn't mean it's easy
Yeah,
because
see,
it's
a lot of people think that, right? When they see simple, we get in our eyesight, like in our mindset that, oh, this can be done and accomplished in a couple of minutes.
yeah, no, and easy. But the other part we have to keep about easy, we find we're all people tend to look for easy in life. But I know that the gospel is not easy. Living the gospel life, living the God life is not easy. But the people that choose a different path, that's not easy either. There's nobody that has an easy life. People that choose living on the streets, not easy. Living without God is not easy. Living a rich and famous life is not easy. Living the Hollywood life is not easy. Those people, they find life really, really hard too.
So
So
how can we say that it's a simple lifestyle then? How can we
yeah,
even throw that word in simple at all? It's just
yeah.
the fact that we're all available to the gift of grace.
Nah, it's just, the concept is that life is simple. It can be simple. Jesus wanted us to live a simple life in a sense, but the thing is, the truth that we're talking about is simple. It's not meant to be complicated, and so basically, that if you take the Jesus' three main disciples, Peter, James, and John, fishermen, they understood it. But the rich and famous of his day hung him on the cross. They didn't
Mm.
understand him at all. So we have to be careful that we're focusing on that. But they could have. Nicodemus, Joseph
Yeah,
Arimathea.
we see that many people who've came to the faith that were also rich, and that's the
Yeah.
simplicity of it. Is it's for everybody. It doesn't exclude, right? I think.
But in John 3, we talk about Nicodemus, but it took him a few years to understand it. Chapter 4, we have the woman at the well. She got it in 20 minutes.
Mhm.
Again, it's not necessarily easy for those that are smarter. It's actually easier if our life and our thinking is a bit simpler. But that's not the point. Nothing prevents us from. But it has to come back to a simple answer, and. The three main ingredients to understanding the gospel is reading the word, prayer, asking for God to reveal it to us, and then the Holy Spirit to reveal it to us. Those three ingredients, again, really
And
simple,
when we
but
break it down into an aspect like that, it's actually quite simple. When it's not like you don't have to go get a degree in rocket science, shall we say, for
no,
that
no,
aspect.
no. And then so those three things will get us to the face of God, basically get us in a place where we're communicating with God. And then after that, got to put our shoes on and do something. Uh, you
And
know,
what about the gospel, the second word there that you chose? Why gospel?
Gospel, because that is Jesus. That we have our the aspect of Jesus. The three main parts of his life are the number one is his walk, his how he lived, and then how he died. Those are huge items in the story as we read the story. And then
Mhm.
the last item is his instruction. Uh, like the last paragraph of Matthew tells us that to make disciples of all nations and teaching them to obey all my teachings. So he
Mhm.
completed the gospel and he completed the Old Testament
So do you think that the Gospels is summing up Jesus in an aspect? Is like that's why you threw it in there? Is you wanted Gospels to show Jesus?
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. The red ink. It is the teachings of Jesus, but the walk of Jesus, and also his sacrifice. Those are the things we're to have. If we're a Christian, that means Jesus lives in us, and if he lives in us, then we're going to walk like Jesus. That we know how he lived, and if our walk is not like his, it gives us a warning that maybe we're not getting it, and because if we're he taught us how to live as a simple life. And of course, his disciples, they walked the same path. So we have examples in them also.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. And for the truth part, what made you put truth? Because we see Jesus, which we know is the truth. But while, some people say your truth is irrelevant to my truth, right? Like my truth, the truth is a variant, is what people say. Like I hear it all the time. People tell me, well, that's your truth. And I'm like, well, to me, it is the truth, right? So what separates the truth from just our opinion, shall we say?
Well, it is. If it's my truth versus your truth, it's strictly an opinion. But if it's the gospel truth, the teaching of Jesus, then Jesus' opinion is the one we want. And that's available to us through the New Testament. The red ink is Jesus' opinion. And that is the only truth that we want. And that is that truth. And Jesus, in John 18:37, he says, the reason I was born and came into the world is to testify to the truth. And that is the objective, is to find that truth. We have all the way, Jesus is very, very particular about that.
Yeah, I guess true. It's like if someone said to you, oh, 2 + 2 is 5, like you're going to look at them and say, that's not the truth, right? Well, and I guess it could work in aspects like that too in the world as well.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Because on that question, 2 + 2 equals what? How many right answers are there?
There's only one.
Yeah, how many wrong answers?
Infinity.
Yeah. So, but the problem is, that's exactly the Bible itself is the whole history of the world, history of humanity, history of creation. All of it is truth. It starts with the first 2 chapters of Genesis, tells us how it all got started. And then the third chapter tells us how sin got started. Those are the things that are really, really critical to us to understand. And then we have, through the New Testament, we have the solution for sin, and that's where we that's the purpose of what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. So the Bible's also full of many tragedies. People that chose to develop their own truth, and people that fell by the wayside. But there's also many heroes of the faith, and we see their examples and how God worked with them. And we have them in the Old Testament. We also have in the New Testament. We have the life journey of Paul, which is a real. And
another thing is we're supposed to fulfill these heroes of the faith too, because there's a whole chapter in the Bible about this, telling us how to walk in through faith and obedience. So, this is something that's just not strive for special people. That's one of the great news of the truth about Christianity, is like we said, and it ties into the simple part in my aspect, is it's for everybody.
No.
And it goes back to the gospel. The gospel is for everybody. And that's where the simple truth of it all comes from, in my opinion on it.
And the other part is really interesting, is the truth is that Jesus fulfilled the Old Testament, and now we are under the New Testament. We have the teachings of Jesus, and there's about 100 of them, of instructions that he gave us. We tend to often think about just grace, but there's more than grace. We have to also be obedient to his teachings, and that is a large part of the truth again. Make sure that we're on page, or that we're on side with his teachings.
That sounds good. So, I just wanted to wrap it up by telling the people, simple gospel truth, and there's some wisdom in it, and it took a lot of time and thought and prayer to come up with this name. So I just wish everyone to be blessed, and we will make another video.